Job as a finder of fact is, was there any competent substantial evidence to refute the applicant meeting its burden? And I'll state that a different way. We have the initial burden of demonstrating compliance with your code and your comprehensive plan. I respectfully submit we hit that on 3 different ways. Your staff recommended approval. Florida law has stated that that is competent substantial evidence to support a decision to approve. P&Z voted to approve 5-3. That is competent substantial evidence of meeting an applicant's burden that we meet the code. We called the only urban and regional planner not associated with staff who testified under oath that this rezoning met all the requirements of your comprehensive plan and your land development code. I respectfully submit that the only competent substantial evidence that you heard supports the rezoning. We've heard a lot of requests about, well, the historic district wasn't finalized, or Melrose would like you to take a timeout and look at the rules and do things differently. That's not what you're here for today. You have a set of rules that the county has adopted. The commercialization of this piece was decided in 1992 when the future land use map colored it red. And a property owner is entitled to zoning that is consistent with the commercial future land use map designation. As it sits right now, it is in conflict with split zoning. The request for C2, we respectfully submit we presented competent substantial evidence to support C2. And there's 2 documents I'd like to show you just as we conclude. If you would be kind enough to go to tab 1, which was our PowerPoint, and look at page 4 of the PowerPoint presentation. There's been several requests that why don't we go with CPO instead of C2? I would submit legally CPO would be spot zoning. It's my understanding in looking at the zoning map of all of Melrose, there is not a single parcel that is zoned CPO. When you look at this piece of property, all that red under the current zoning map is already C2. The very thing that allegedly is going to bring the downfall of Melrose already exists up and down 21 and across 26, a sea of C2. Our subject property already has split zoning with a part of C2. If you were to adopt the argument that we're going to go with CPO, which would be, again, my understanding, the only time in the history of Melrose that a parcel would have CPO, you would be creating split zoning again, which is inconsistent with your regulations. If you would turn to page 10, please, of the same PowerPoint presentation. That gives you the overall look of the region. And you'll see there is 1 parcel in the historic district that's C1, no CPO. You'll see further east and west, that row, that sea of C2 goes east and west. You look at the 21 going north-south, you have a sea of C2 with a C4 and a C3 already on 21. That's the existing zoning. We're simply filling in a portion of property that is already C2. In the absence of any competent substantial evidence, and let me expand upon that for one moment. You heard a lot about character. You heard a lot about we have a vision for our community. What you didn't hear in the opposition was this zoning fails to meet this policy of the comprehensive plan or this provision of the land development code. The opposition was silent on pointing to a particular policy of your plan, a particular provision of your land development code. And hopes for what something might be in the future, or hopes that an amendment might take place in the future, is not relevant to what you have today. And what you have today, I respectfully submit, is the only evidence indicated that the applicant has met its burden, and there was no evidence. There was 2 policies that were cited by the Honorable Judge, and there was a confusion on the level of service. The number that she was relying upon was LOSC, not LOSD. And we had Angela Garland testify and it's actually on the exhibit that the judge provided to you all. The trips are 1350. So even if you were to consider traffic concurrency, which we submit is not appropriate at this stage because you don't have an end user yet. You have a range. This is not a Dollar General decision. This is not an attorney's office decision. This is not a library decision. Your code has created a range of uses that are allowed in C2. And when you get to the point of site planning, that's when the concurrency analysis will kick in. And under the documentation that FDOT has calculated, that you have been provided, there is current capacity today to meet any of those uses that are allowed under C2. The property is not in the historic district. It is not in the historic district buffer. It is simply an extension of what already exists up and down 21 and 26. And we ask you to approve our application today. And when we get to the site plan stage, then we'll worry about concurrency and trees and pipes and things of that nature. But we're looking at a color on a map that doesn't generate a single trip. We don't get there until the site plan. So please approve our application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Theriak.
I think now may be a good time for our ex-parte disclosures, in case someone wants to inquire about them.
Mr. Counsel, just for the record, there were, again, in 50-plus emails that I received. I'm sure my colleagues will be able to say what they received, but there were countless citizens who, for the most part, communicated via email to me, and then the letter with the objection to proposed rezoning and several others, and all of those are on record, sir. District 1.
I have not had any ex parte communications. I have had many emails, have not responded to any, but I have certainly.
The emails are ex-parte communication.
They are also. Then that's what I've had, the ones that are on public record.
District 2.
Also, everything I've received has been public record or snail mail, either one, and it came through our post office box.
District 4.
I have received numerous emails that I've made public. Also, I've informed council of 2 conversations, one with Mr. Rick Tisdale about the water pipe being located out there, and the other one with Mr. Williamson on the property. I did try to avoid this topic as best I could, and some of the people in the audience that will attest to that at the Better Place meeting at the library that we had. So I was very careful not to get too far in the weeds on that. But Mr. Williams and I did have a conversation and basically made that public knowledge to our attorney, and he's made that public information to the other side too. Thank you.
District 5.
I think your numbers are low when you say 50 emails.
I said plus.
I too have had one conversation with Mr. Williamson from the grocery store, and as Mr. Harvey said, has tried to stay out of the weeds as best I could and told him that it would be resolved here today.
Counsel.
All right, for the board, is there anything in these ex-parte communications that would prevent you from making a decision today based strictly on what was presented here today and made part of the record?
District 1.
No.
District 2.
No.
District 4.
No.
District 5.
No.
District 3. No.
Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. At this time, we're closing the public hearing that we may go into board deliberation and vote, which that means to each of us, unless the commissioners have a specific question and ask any specific person to approach us to answer a question or to clarify any thought process, the deliberations will remain among us in consultation with our legal counsel. Okay. Shall I start with District 1?
Yes. I think so. First of all, I want to say that I appreciate the civility that this group has shown. I think you all spoke so eloquently about your love of your town, and that it's from your heart, you know, how you felt, and the way you conducted yourself was exemplary, and thank you for that. I want to tell you that I'm from Crescent City. I was mayor of Crescent City for a number of years, and I've always compared it to Melrose. And we have a big lake, and we have one traffic light, and we have green and clean and pure water and lots of good things. So I appreciate that. Raised my children there, and I really understand what you've had to say. I have found this particularly difficult because I relate to exactly what you're saying. But we do have laws that we have to go by and things that we have to comply with. Was it consistent with the comp plan? Yes. Did it comply with the land development code? Yes. I would love to have taken the land development code quote that Ms. Christensen brought out and to see if any of that applied and use it, but as we explored it further, we saw that it did not help. It fixes the conflict with the zoning being a split zoning, and the most prevalent zoning was C2, so it fits into that. And it did lie outside the Melrose Historic District. So this is what I really want to say today. You have such a beautiful jewel, and you took a step years ago to try and have an historic district. If you had an historic district today with rules and things laid out, you would have given me a hook to hang my thoughts on of granting this, of not granting this zoning, because I really understand your request. But you did not. I did not have anything that I could base anything legal on not to make the decision that I have to make. But I want you to know that you have homework to do. I think some of you have alluded to that. You need to protect what you can and give future commissions the opportunity to vote how you really feel. And it is with regrets, but I feel that I need to approve what is recommended us by our planning department and our planning and zoning board.
Thank you. District 1, District 2,
I'll pass.
District 4.
I'm kidding.
I didn't know we could do that.
You did, though,
You
didn't
can
you?
do that, by the way. You don't have to signal your intent preliminarily.
Well, I want to. Thank you. But anyhow, this is a tough decision. And to all the people from Melrose, I have a lot of friends in that community, and this is not easy. It really isn't. If there was one thing to hang my hat on, and you know, we vetted every piece of this thing today, I would hang it, I promise you. I almost feel defiant. I want to be the rebel and go with you, but the law is the law, and we can't do that. But I want to encourage the Melrose Business Association, Ms. Massey, please get that overlay done so this doesn't happen again. And this is not over, by the way. You know, the attorney alluded to the Walmart distribution center in Crescent City, and it sits vacant. There's a lot there. It got the zoning change, and it never got developed. And but anyhow, it's two different apples. So you guys, you got to get the overlay, and you got to shape your town. This is one development that might or might not happen. I don't know, but you do have power past this, and I regret that I'm going to have to follow staff's recommendations today because there's just nothing that I can hang my hat on. Thank you.
Thank you. District 2, District 4.
Well, I do want to say thank you so much to the Melrose residents. We worked very hard out there, and I have been working very, very hard with the other commissioners from Association of Counties out there. We're trying to really bring Melrose in and do some really good things out there. Even if this is not approved, like Commissioner Lible says, it doesn't mean it's the end. There isn't a Walmart super or distribution center built here. I again wish I could put something out there, and I think I do. And I'm going to make that presentation. Mr. Brand, before you leave, I happen to agree with you. I sat here during these presentations thinking, what am I here for if it's already, all the attorneys have figured it out, and we're the last little level of government that you have left, but yet it looks like everything pretty much has to fit in the box. And I think we can do better than that. I have some real issues with the traffic out there. I've stood on your street corner many a day holding signs for candidates. I've actually walked the area many times. I tried to cross the road the other day on 21, couldn't get across for a long period of time. I get my hair cut in Melrose. I mean, I come out there to do business, and it's a very difficult area currently. And when you look at this map right here that I'm not supposed to be looking at, but this was in my packet, I don't see how these semis are going to pull into this parking lot and back up to this loading zone. So here goes County Road 21, and that's what's going to take place. And I think, in my opinion, I think traffic has not been studied properly. I think for pedestrians, for automobiles, and for semis, and it's a dangerous place out there. And I really think, in my opinion, we need to look at traffic a little bit better, a lot better for this situation. I do have to agree that cleaning up, if we could just say, okay, let's not look at a map and let's look at land only, cleaning up that partial would be the best thing to do. But I'm not sure that this building right there with Pine Street, the access behind all those roads, 26 and 21, I can't see how we can do this. So that's my opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, District 4. I'm sorry I cannot have any commentary from the audience, but thank you so very much, sir. District 5.
Again, a very difficult decision to make. I do want to applaud the residents of Melrose for your caring, your love of your town. I thoroughly understand that. I heard several people say 35, 37 years, whatever. This is my home too. I do not live in Melrose, but I am a 52-year resident of this Putnam County. I do understand the quaintness of the small town atmosphere, and that's important. But the major thing that kept hanging over my head here is I kept looking at that elementary school and those kids coming out of there, and there's a lot of child traffic there that I don't think is amply covered as far as sidewalks and things like that on their side of the street that they need. Again, it was very difficult. I understand the legalities of things that we've read and were exposed to today, but the safety of those kids is paramount to myself, so I'm going to have to go no.
Thank you, District 5. In conclusion, echo many of the comments that I've heard today. When I hear about the special charm, the beauty, the quaintness, the green, the sweetness, the historical, artistic, and cultural, and treasured, and wonderful, and marvelous, cherished, majestic environment of Melrose, I know that is not a stretch. I really appreciate the passion and the love that has been exhibited for Melrose. We feel you, and I have not lived in Melrose, but I have full respect and love for our citizens who have expressed themselves, just so wonderfully there. And I echo what I heard starting with District 1. How you presented yourself is, you have raised the bar in our county as it relates to individuals who know that you have a difference of opinion for what is being recommended, but your civility, and the timing couldn't be better with us having National Civility Month there. But I just want to appreciate what I've heard. A couple of points I want to raise. Although we have 100% compliance and consistency with the code and concurrency and the comprehensive plan, we have 0% compliance and consistencies with the community and the citizens. We do understand. We do understand, and I don't want you to think that your coming here has been in vain, because it's not in vain. And so what you've said today is not falling on deaf ears. Where do we go from here? I think obviously this hearing is about property rights. This is about remedying split zoning and et cetera. But at the same time, what do we do? That planned unit development overlay would certainly give greater security, more prominent installation to beloved Melrose, no doubt about that. Even if we were to delay, those studies could not be retro. So it's not like anything that would be done today forward could be applied to this particular case. So we do want you to recognize and realize that it's not a done deal. We properly vetted this. We want to be and we will be in compliance with our development codes, with the Florida statutes, as well as our local ordinances. So as a result of that, it does create stress on us as legislative leaders, and it may appear to be some insensitivity. I can promise you that there is nothing but pure empathy for what we have heard here today. So having said that, I'd like to entertain a motion from this commission. There's a recommended action from the Planning Commission that recommends approval, and what is the pleasure of this commission?
Move approval of the recommended action by the Planning Commission.
We have a proper motion.
I'll second it.
We have a proper second. Further discussion. We'll have a roll call vote. District 1?
Aye.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
No.
District 5?
No.
District 3? Yes. At this time, we will go on recess until 3 o'clock p.m.
Good deal.
Let's go eat some lunch.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, you too.
Thank you, sir. Call the Board of County Commissioners meeting back in session. We're at item 9, 4.5 hours later. Scheduled for 11:30. Certainly want to thank our citizens who are here for a public hearing of sort, for your patience with us, and we're going to move right along. Item 9A is presented by our attorney. Proposed ordinance reference extension of local option gas taxes through August 31st, 2045. Mr. Castleberry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am passing out an ordinance as we speak that has changed a little bit from the ordinance in your agenda packet. From the time I drafted the ordinance for inclusion in the packet, Mr. Jones informed me that we have an interlocal agreement with the municipalities on how the proceeds are shared, and it's every 3 years, John, that has to be recalculated. So you will note that the ordinance I just passed out differs very slightly in the percent share of proceeds in paragraph C of the ordinance. That's based on the most recent population and the most recent 3-year review that we furnish that information to the state. So it's very slight changes, but these are the current numbers, and that is what the interlocal agreement provides for.
So in other words, Council, the division and the distribution formula is modernized or revised to reflect what it should be currently.
That's correct.
Thank you very kindly. Further discussion
Yes.
on this? Yes, ma'am.
So is it going to change by that is it going to change every 3 years, or this is
Yes.
what it's going to be for the rest
No,
of
it
the
changes every 3 years.
And it
pursuant-
says so in the ordinance?
The interlocal agreement says so, yes.
Okay.
And then we have an obligation to notify the state every time it changes.
Okay.
All right.
All right, this is a public hearing, so we do declare this public hearing open for any citizens who would like to discuss or have any questions on the extension of the local option gas taxes. That, again, is a 30-year plan, and the previous period was September the 1st, 1985 through August 31st of this year, 2015. And so it will become effective September the 1st, 2015 through August 31st, 2045. And this is not new. The 4-cent local option gas tax and the 5 and 6 cent local option gas tax has been in existence for quite a season now. If there are no public comments, I will go to commissioners' questions or any discussions for deliberation.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Mr. Castleberry, could you clarify that one more time? We're going to look at the proceeds, the shares, every 3 years, but this is for a 30-year period?
Correct.
It changes according to the population distributed by Bieber.
Yeah, we're not necessarily looking at it. We're looking at the statistics of the population of the municipalities so that the percentages are adjusted
So as
accordingly.
population changes, those numbers change.
Right.
That's correct.
So let me ask you this, because it does kind of give me, 30 years seems to be an awful long time. I mean,
It's the primary, it's a tax that's in effect in 67 out of 67 counties in Florida,
okay.
with the exception of Franklin County, which for some reason only has 5 cents in effect, but it's the primary funder for the Department of Public Works.
Okay, all right.
Further questions? Yes, sir, Commissioner Palacio.
I don't know if this is Mr. Jones or Mr. Castleberry, but the difference, tell me, how did we come up with the different numbers here on the handout we just got versus the one that was in our packet?
Reviewed the population figure, the current population figures of.
But what the other one wasn't reflecting those current
The
population?
original one drafted is based on the current numbers, and it is now time, and Finance had just recently completed the every 3-year review, and that reflects the changes in the population.
Okay, I just want to know where for sure where we're starting out at.
Further discussion? Entertain a motion?
So move approval, Mr. Chair, of the option fuel
I
tax.
have a motion on the table for extension of local option gas taxes through August 31st, 2045. Is there a second?
Second.
Proper second. Further discussion? Do a roll call vote. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
No,
District 5?
Yes.
District 3? Yes. 4-1. Thank you very kindly. We will now move into the code enforcement component of our agenda. Mr. John Salmons is here, and do you have PowerPoints at all?
No.
Okay. If it's okay with everyone that's here, if we know who the citizens, the cases that have people here, I'd like to maybe take those first. Can you kind of maybe do a polling and find out who's here so we
I
can?
believe Ms. Chapman's here.
Okay. You said
He's the
that's
first case.
Chapman, who else?
I'm not sure who the others.
Everybody here is Chapman on this side? Okay.
Here for a fine reduction?
no.
No, I didn't think so. I
Okay.
think she's the only person here.
We can stay in order then. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, 10A, fine reduction case 2010-00324, Robert Mateer, Shirley Chapman, 1924 County Road 308. Mr. Salmons.
The property was first seen on March 5th, 2010. A notice of violation hearing was sent out on April 13th, 2010. Special magistrate heard the case on June 17th, 2010, and found the property to be in violation, and gave the owner until August 10th, 2010, to come into compliance, or a $25 a day per fine would commence. $100 administrative fee was also assessed. There were no changes at the site. On February 14, 2012, the Board of County Commissioners approved abatement of the property. On September 27th of 2012, the county actually abated the property. The fine and abatement issues were still at issue. Ms. Chapman is Mr. McTeer's daughter, I believe. And he was ill. Basically, the special magistrate heard the request on April 16, 2015, and recommended that the $2015 abatement cost be paid in full, but that the $19,425 fine be reduced to $1,564 if it's paid within 180 days of Board of County Commissioner action. The total of the two costs actually cover the county's expenses in this
Okay, thank you, Mr. Salmon. Ms. Chapman, whoever you designated to speak on behalf of your family, please come forward. want to assure you that there's no need for you to be nervous. We're just gonna hear anything that, do you understand the recommendation that's before us?
Yes.
Okay, do you have questions or concerns about the recommendation?
No, I really appreciate the fact that the magistrate did recommend it the fine be reduced. We know that the fees and all that's owed to the county is due, and, you know, we're more than happy to pay that because we know that's an obligation. But we do ask that the fine be reduced, forgiven.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, again, the recommendation before us is that the 2015 abatement cost be paid in full, and then the reduction of the fine is to $1,564. So you do understand both of those?
Yes.
Okay. Question for you, Mr. Salmon. There is on one page 90-day and on another page 180 there. So which accommodates the Chapman family?
I believe the original 90 days was something that we had recommended, and the board, the special magistrate, when he heard after we talked with Mrs. Chapman, gave her more time.
Okay, Ms. Chapman, do you need more than 90 days?
Well, there's one question I'd like to have. If you're willing to give the reduction, will it go right away to, the reason being is we'd like to sell the property, and with the fine, you know, being there, the lady I spoke with said that it would be harder to sell, but we should be able to sell it within the 90 days, is what we're hoping for, so that we can pay the fines. And
Okay, so in other words, in order to pay the fine, you need to sell it, but in order for us to clear the...
his siblings, we may be able to come up with fines if we can't sell it in a period of time. We will get this done within the 90 days, which is what, 3 months?
Yes, ma'am.
If for some reason we ran into difficulty, if I called you or met with you again for the extra extension, would that be possible?
I think it's going to be safer for us to do the 180 like
Yeah,
the recommendation
so.
is, and that way you'll be covered. The sooner you do it, then it'll be cleared
Okay,
up.
yes,
But I
definitely.
think it'll be better for the grace that the magistrate has recommended to probably stay there. So you'll have the 180, and then that way, if you do it in 30 days, then everybody still will be happy. Okay? Further discussion from the
Yes.
commission. Yes, District 1.
Mr. Chairman, it does say on that it's going to be the county cost, and on the county cost sheet, it says $1,544 instead of $1,564.
Okay, I'm looking at the recommended action.
Look at the last page. It has
Yep.
the total.
It's got two different numbers.
Okay, 1564.
And 1544.
Page out.
Got two different numbers.
Colors.
Okay. That's true. Okay. Okay. My 1564 is on the Gillen case, okay? But I got 1564 on my front page on the recommended actions.
Right.
So can you clear that up for us, sir?
I made a typo.
Okay, so
44 is what
it should be
Should be
44? Okay, well, the magistrate page say 1564 as well. So is it a math issue on the reduction worksheet, or is it an issue on the recommended?
the worksheet's right.
Okay, the worksheet's right. Okay, so we will concur with the recommendation of the special magistrate and accept $2,015 to cover the abatement costs and $1,544. You just gained $20, Ms. Chapman, in lieu of the $19,425 fine. And is that the motion that we have?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve case 2010-00324.
Okay, we have proper motion.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Chapman,
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
And what we really appreciate most is the compliance there. And we know sometimes to get to that point is very trying and difficult. But your family has come through, and we pray that you'll have a speedy sale.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks
If you
again
get a
for coming.
potential buyer, give me a call and
Oh,
we can
absolutely.
work things
Same
out.
thing here.
Appreciate your help so
Okay.
much. Thank
Okay.
you again.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
All right, item B, fine reduction request, case number 2010-0123, Jimmy Gillen, 130 First Street.
This is a request by Jimmy Gillen to get a fine reduction on case 2010-01231. Property was first seen on October 12, 2010. A notice of violation was sent out on the 21st of October. The property had been damaged pretty badly by a fire. A notice of hearing was sent out on January 18, 2011. The special magistrate found the property to be in violation on March 17, 2011, and gave until May 2nd, 2011 to bring it into compliance, or a $25 day fine would commence. A $100 administrative fee was also charged. The property remained in violation on October 12, 2012. Mr. Gillian and his brother came into the office and indicated that they would obtain a demolition permit and then come in for a fine reduction. The demolition permit was issued. The property was partially in compliance, but not completely. On September 19, 2013, the special magistrate ordered that the property be foreclosed on or abated. The property continued to be in violation. Staff took the case before the board, and the board authorized abatement. The county then abated the property. Mr. Gillen came in and requested a fine reduction hearing after that. The special magistrate heard the request on April 16th and recommended that the abatement cost of $2,375 be paid in full, and that the $30,150 fine be reduced to $1,625 if it's paid within 90 days.
Mr. Salmon, is it true on number 6 in the analysis where it says value of the property? Is that accurate?
Yes.
So the value of the property is $2,760, and
Yep.
I just want to make sure that I'm reading this right.
He seems willing to pay it. He was at the hearing, and he seems to be willing to pay it, so.
There's got to be some sentimental value, that's all I can tell you.
Mr. Chairman, it looks like on page 3 again. We have the same problem. We have a
We got 'em.
1564 and.
Got a calculation error, addition error.
So the fine reduction worksheet on Gillen is saying 1564.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm looking at the magistrate
1625, yes.
recommended action and the,
So again, is the worksheet correct?
I'm not positive on that one, because that's the same as the last one. On the other one's
The
1540.
math's not right on
Yeah.
3, I can tell you that.
It
right
should
now.
be accurate. I don't know, I messed it up.
It's
but-
not.
1564 would be fine.
It's not correct. I guess, yes, it is. I'm sorry. I saw something there I didn't see. But what, are we going with the magistrate, or are we going with your number?
Well, he went by my number, but the 1564, I think, is the correct number.
Okay.
so Mr. Salmon, do we need to get some calculators in the budget? Gonna talk with the.
We all reached that age about glasses, huh, John?
Yep.
Okay, so that number should be 1564. Okay, so give me an idea, or give us an idea of if we're going with the recommended action, this person is getting 90 days, how will he be, or they be served in the absence? Will it be any certified?
Basically, I send them a letter indicating what your action is. We put it in our code enforcement case file on the property appraiser's system. We have rechecks, and then we check every month to see if anything's come in. Sometimes they come in early, most of the time they don't. But on the date that it's supposed to be in, we'll check it, and if it's not in, then we have to go a different route.
So does it go out certified, or does it go out regular mail? Does the notice of our action today go out certified, or does it just go out in regular mail?
I have been sending them out regular. I can send it out certified.
I'm just wondering, I mean, very few that are not here, and since this one is not here, in order for us,
Well, there were a couple of people here earlier, but they were in agreement with the special magistrate, and I think they got tired of sitting through it. So they asked me if they could leave, and I said, sure.
well, I mean, that's fine, it's no penalty,
Yep.
certainly, but I just want to make sure that a person don't use it against us that they did not actually get the information and then come back for another
Right.
extension or something on that order.
Yep.
What's the pleasure of the commission?
Move approval.
Proper motion
Second.
and a second for case 2010-01231, with the recommended action with the correction of the reduction of the fine to $1,564. Have a proper motion and second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item C, fine reduction request, case number 2014-00125, Dubay Rabindranath, 114 Country Living Lane.
This was a case that was started as a result of a neighborhood sweep that we were requested to do, I think, by Mr. Harvey. This is another case where we worked with the property appraiser staff to figure out which property the building was actually on. A letter of unsafe building was sent out to the owner. The owner called on May 30th, 2014 and wanted to board up the structure until he could sell it. He also wanted the county to guarantee that the property would remain in good condition once he got it in the boarded up state. The case went before the special magistrate on October 16, 2014, and he gave the owner until January 15, 2015 to bring the property into compliance, or a $25 a day fine would commence. A $100 administrative fee was also charged. On December 31, 2014, the owner called and requested more time, as he's having difficulty obtaining a demolition contractor that he could afford. Staff told him we had no ability to grant an extension. The demolition contract was obtained on January 7, 2015, and the permit was finalized out on February 12, 2015. Mr. Rabindranath requested a fine reduction hearing. The special magistrate heard the request on April 16, 2015, and recommended that the $425 fine not be reduced.
Chairman.
So the worksheet
Here we go again.
says 704.
Well, that's because that's the money we have in it, but the actual fine from the day it started is
So 425 is the number.
So it's,
So much. What's the
we
pleasure of
we didn't go
commission?
past that,
Move
the
approval,
state where
Mr.
they
Chair.
would be,
Second.
Proper
One would
motion
be
and
more
a
than the
second.
other.
Further discussion?
Yeah, I wanted to,
On the what?
aren't we trying to get our money back though at least? So why are we accepting less money?
well, in this case, the fine started on such and so date and ended on such and so date, which was before
Okay,
we could garner our costs back.
all right, thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. D, fine reduction request, case number 2009-0058, Mark and Cindy Hesterberg, 137 Riley Drive.
The property was first seen on January 28, 2009. A notice of violation hearing was sent out on February 4, 2009. Case went before the special magistrate on April 16, 2009. He found the property to be in violation and gave the owner until May 18, 2009 to bring the property into compliance, or a $25 day fine would commence. $100 administrative fee was also levied. Nothing happened on the property for a few years. The property went to a tax deed sale on August 14, 2013. We received information that new owners bought the property on September 10, 2013. The new owners at first were non-responsive. Staff finally made contact with them on January 27, 2014. They said they were aware of the code enforcement case, but all they do is buy property and sell it. They ended up selling it to the Hesterbergs. They purchased the property and took care of the problems, got the permits to solve the problem. On March 3rd, 2015, staff rechecked the property and found it to be in compliance. They requested a fine reduction hearing on April 16, 2015. The special magistrate heard the request for a fine reduction and recommended that the $52,825 fine be reduced to $200 if it's paid within 45 days, for the reason that they're new owners and they weren't involved in the property at all until well after the case had gone forward.
So the group that say they just buy it and sell it,
Yep.
they don't understand?
They don't what?
Understand?
They understand, but they don't care.
Okay, for the record.
Did they disclose this to the new owners, or do you not know?
They said they did. The new owners contacted us shortly after they bought it, so I'm guessing they must have. They have to by law, but that doesn't mean they do it.
$52,000 fine on a $16,000 property.
Well, if we have a business, a legitimate business that's in the business of buying and selling and don't care, somehow or another, the magistrate and all concerned need to understand they need to pay the cost to be the boss, if that's how they gonna roll. I mean, I don't know who this group is and what they represent, but it doesn't make me feel good if they're gonna brag and boast about this is how they do business there, and I hope that anybody that will purchase from them will be on guard to know that this is how they roll.
Right.
Because there, to me, was no obligation on Putnam County's part to ignore the cost that we have in this property. The sympathy and the empathy is all good and understandable, but at the same time, citizens who jump up and do this thing right, and again, don't want to punish the people who bought it, but the people who bought it need to be diligent and understand also.
Yeah, the people that bought it on tax deed sale, we need to figure out how to get them somehow, so that they don't do that anymore.
Okay, so,
And you know, my concern, Mr. Solomon, is what we talked about the other day when we met at the conference room. You know, we should be trying to get our costs back, at least have a minimum set there. You know, but it's unfair for these people to have to pay it, but.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve case 2009-0058.
proper motion?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign, hearing none, motion carries. Item E, fine reduction request, case 2013-0041, Arthur Souther, 506 Quail Hollow Road, page 123 in the packet. Mr. Salmon.
This property was first seen on January 25th, 2015, and they found a large accessory structure that was built without permits. Notice of violation and hearing was sent out on March 15, 2013. Case went before the special magistrate on June 20th, 2013, and he found the property to be in violation and gave the owner until December 20, 2013 to obtain the permits and bring the property into compliance, or $25 day fine per day fine would commence. $100 administrative fee was also assessed. It went back to the special magistrate on March 20, 2014, and he ordered the lien to be recorded. On September 18, 2014, the special magistrate heard a request by staff to abate or foreclose on the property, and he gave said order. A permit was finally obtained on January 21, 2015. The permit was finalized on March 2, 2015. The owner requested a fine reduction. Special magistrate heard the request for a fine reduction on April 16, 2015. He did not concur with staff's recommendation that it be $1,000. He changed it to $500 if it's paid within 60 days.
Thank you, Mr. Salmon. We do, I'm tossing it around, in my mind, I guess piggybacking off of Commissioner Harvey, are we randomly, just, you know, is it a straw poll or something that we're using to, for the magistrate? I mean, is there any formula at all? Because it seems as if we're randomly subsidizing every case. And I know each case is different, but at the same time, to me, the starting point is the cost to the county, or the cost that's been incurred as a starting point. And I hear you saying $1,000 on this particular case, but I'm not following a specific pattern on these cases. I don't see where there's a formula or something there, and that to me, if we just random, someone can cry foul further down the road that we're randomly setting, you know, I guess these fine reduction.
On cases where the person that's involved is the person that was in charge of the property when the violation occurred, we're pretty much at least going to try and get our money back, which is why our recommendation, staff's recommendation, was $1,000. Mr. Souther was at the hearing in front of the magistrate, and for whatever reason, he got the special magistrate to buy his story, and so the special magistrate asked me if I would accept $500, and I said, well, I had recommended $1,000, but you have a right to override me.
Right.
And I said, so if that's what you want to do, I'm okay with it. That's your choice.
Don't be so nice.
Yeah.
Our procedure in the past has been to collect the outstanding, the actual cost of what the administration cost and the trips out to the property.
On cases where we have people who buy the property through tax deed and solve the problem and deal with that, those are the ones that we've been coming in with very low prices. Or there's another one that's coming up here where the gentleman was involved with the property, but he bought a used mobile home from somebody that didn't have a title, and he went through half acre to try and get a title. It took him months and months and months, and that's what the thing was. That's why that one we've recommended that it be reduced down pretty low. But
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem, and I'm certainly not trying to
Yeah.
be the judge for the magistrate, but at the same time, I think that there needs to be a clear policy that the magistrate understand, and when we veer from that policy, I believe that if a person is being granted grace or mercy and it's the same owner, that they need to demonstrate some hardship,
right.
because they creating us some hardship. Commissioner Pellicito.
Yes, you said $1,000, and then over on your worksheet, I see 927.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
927 is the actual cost we have, but I felt that they built a building without a permit. I didn't think being over 927 was necessarily a bad thing.
Well, as Commissioner Lible said, I agree. We've always tried to get our hard costs back,
Right.
you know, when you've got somebody in there trying to do the right thing.
Yep.
Or even be a little more lenient with
Now,
those folks.
he told the special magistrate that he lost his job, and I think that's probably what got the special magistrate to reduce it further, but,
I guess some of that testimony would help us to be merciful too, but
yep.
since we don't have it, what's the pleasure of the commission?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm going to step outside the box here. I'd like to make a motion to approve 2013-0041 with a fine of $927 for 120 days.
Have a proper motion on the floor.
I'm not quite clear on something here. This Mr.,
Motion dies for lack of a second. Go ahead, Mr. Pellissier.
okay, I might have seconded if I,
Time ran out.
never mind. I'm
It
not,
can be
I'm not big on,
remade, but-
I'm not big on that. Is Mr. Souther, is he the new owner or the former owner, or what is he?
He's the owner that owned it. He's the one that built the,
Since time,
yep, since the case started.
okay. So he's known all about these problems, and
Yes, sir.
But we don't know his story.
Right.
it would have been nice if he'd have been here today.
He was given a notice.
Sir?
He was given a notice.
Do we know whether or not he was here earlier?
I didn't see him, but that doesn't mean he wasn't here. There's a lot of people here. I didn't
Yeah,
scan everybody.
church full. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we follow the recommended action by the special magistrate.
Proper
Second.
motion on the floor and proper second. We concur with the recommendation of the special magistrate and accept the $500 in lieu of the $10,825 fine if paid within 60 days. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item F, fine reduction request, case number 2014-0296, Brett McQuaid, 120 Ellis Drive, page 126 in your packet. Mr. Salmons.
This property was first seen on April 8th, 2014. Some discussion with the original owner followed. A notice of violation hearing was sent out. The case was heard by the special magistrate on July 17, 2014. He found the property to be in violation, gave the owners until September 2nd, 2014 to bring the property into compliance, or a $25 day fine would commence. $100 administrative fee was also charged. Nothing happened. A demolition permit was pulled finally on December 21st, 2014. Property was in compliance on January 12th, 2015. Brett McQuaid came in on March 27th, 2015, indicated he was the owner and requested a fine reduction hearing. Special magistrate heard the request on April 16, 2015, and recommend the county accept $100 in lieu of $3,700 fine if it's paid within 30 days. Mr. McQuaid was not the owner at the time that the property was in violation.
What's the correct spelling of his surname? We have it spelled two different ways.
Where do you have it? Oh, yes, you're right.
Is it Q-U-A-D or Q-U-A-I-G? Q-U-A-I-G.
UAID.
Quaig or McQuaig?
D or G on the end.
McQuaid.
Is it G on the end? A-I-G. A-I-G, okay. All right. Okay, so, just again, a little clerical revision on the recommendation before it's filed away. So in this particular case, the $100 is, again, an administrative fee, but the hard cost, again, is $896. It's going to help this board, even though the summary highlights look good and sound good, but apparently whatever testimony that's going before the magistrate, so we can at least follow the train of thought. I think
Okay.
it's gonna have to be maybe 2 more sentences at least, so that we can at least get a better feel for what he knows that we don't.
The only thing I can say in pro of this is it appears, if I'm reading this correctly, that he took care of it in a pretty timely manner compared to most cases that come before us.
And he wasn't involved in it until after everything happened, so.
What's the pleasure of the commission?
I'm gonna move approval, strictly on that basis there.
Proper motion
Second.
And a second that we concur with the recommendation of special magistrate and accept $100 in lieu of the $3,700 fine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Case number 2013-0021, heirs of Alan Dillard, 117 Matthews Road, page 129 in your packet.
This is the case I was alluding to before. Mr. Dillard agreed, if we found an unpermitted mobile home on the property, he agreed to obtain a permit, notice it's a violation, and hearing was set out on January 14, 2013. Went before the special magistrate on March 21st, 2013, and found the property to be in violation. He gave him until May 21st, 2013 to bring the property into compliance, or a $25 a day fine would commence. $100 administrative fee was also charged. Mr. Dillard had a very difficult time getting a title to the permit, which without a title, he couldn't get a building permit. Once that problem was resolved, he took care of the problem immediately and brought the property into compliance. And the special magistrate heard this request on April 16, 2015, and recommended that the board accept $200 in lieu of the $10,100 fine. It's paid within 45 days because of the title problem that the man had.
Pleasure of the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of case number 2013-0021.
Proper motion.
Second.
Second, discussion. All in favor of the recommended action of the special magistrate to accept $200 in lieu of the $10,100 fine, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Fine reduction case number 2011-0286, Philip and Barbara Jordan, 2040 Bellamy Road, page 132 in your packet.
This property was first seen on April 25th, 2011. A courtesy notice was sent out to the property owners on April 28th, 2011. We got no response from the owners. Notice of violation was sent out on September 6th, 2011. Notice of hearing was sent out on November 2nd, 2011. On January 19th, 2012, the special magistrate heard the case and found the property to be in violation and gave the owners until May 5th, 2012 to bring the property into compliance, or a $25 a day fine would commence. $100 administrative fee was also levied. Nothing happened after that. The case went before the special magistrate on the 19th of April 2012. Found the property still be in violation and ordered the lien to be recorded. On October 17, 2013, the special magistrate ordered the property to be abated or foreclosed upon. On March 27, 2014, the Board of County Commissioners authorized abatement. Mr. Jordan called staff and indicated he would like to repair the structure. Ms. Suarez gave him until mid-September to do so, or we would proceed with abatement. Mr. Jordan contacted the staff in September and indicated he was going to try to attain a permit. Staff discussed the case with Mr. Hammonds and said that if no permit was obtained and work wasn't started by October 1st, that we would proceed with abatement. Nothing happened. The property was finally abated on November 21st, 2014. The special magistrate heard his request and recommended that the abatement lien be paid in full and that the fine be reduced from $24,775 to $1,225 if it's paid within 180 days.
Well, the numbers do match
And the dates.
on this, and so what's the pleasure of the commission?
Move approval staff recommendations.
We have a proper motion.
Second.
That and a second that the staff recommendation, which is the recommendation from the special magistrate, in the amount of $1,225 from the total amount of the $24,775. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries.
He was actually at the hearing and was willing to pay this, even though the property is only worth $2,000, but he lives in Minnesota and realizes it's his responsibility, so he said he would be more than happy to pay it.
Bless you.
Must have moved.
Just one point of clarification, Brian Hammonds, Planning and Development Services Director. Ever since I've been here, this is eight years now, we have always been told by the commission we're after compliance. We're not after the money.
Correct.
So understanding that, we'd be happy to throw the book at everybody. That's not a problem. That's what we do. Are you telling us that you wish for us to start at the full amount owed and then see where again, anything we give you is a recommendation. Anything the magistrate gives you is a recommendation. All of our liens are in favor of the board. So you can do anything you want to with them. But if you have some idea as far as where you want us to start, if you want us to stick to the full amount owed, we will do that. Just give us a little bit of direction on that.
And again, just speaking as one of the five, if there is a formula that simply says, okay, this person is the new owner, they were not the original owner. If this person is the owner that's been there all along, and we've got some basically what I would call non-compliant, just again don't care, and it's not punitive per se, but at the same time, I think that if there's a formula that you all are using when you're going to the magistrate, if the magistrate again gets some testimony that would cause him to veer from it, but I just think that the original, we do want compliance, no question about that, but at the same time, as we have heard from other hearings, that the taxpayers are now paying for these non-compliant citizens kind of thing. And I do understand your department is not a money-making department.
We
but
understand.
I think, yes, sir.
We understand. I just want you to understand that there are every circumstance you can think of, every excuse, every mitigating factor that you can think of is out there.
Right.
We hear it on a daily basis. So again,
Well, I mean, it's just like when the troopers stop somebody and they tell them they're on their way to the hospital, but the hospital is in the opposite direction, kind of thing. We do understand that. So I just think for the basic ABCD cases, if there's a formula that kind of sort of sets the stage for you all to go before the magistrate with, to me, and again, let's hear from the others.
yeah, that would put me basically to sticking to the full amount owed at that time, and then let the magistrate give you a recommendation beyond that, and then you decide what you want to do.
When you say throw the book, that scares me.
Well, I'm just saying, ask
I
for the full
understand.
amount owed.
Well, when I say full amount, I'm talking about costs incurred, not necessarily the amount of the fine. I want to make sure.
Understood.
But again,
That's what I'm referring to, not.
Yeah, and that's what
full
I'm
amount of
referring to also, just the hard cost.
I like it the way it is.
you like it the way it is.
I do. If we do it the way it is. Now, I don't want conflicting amounts like we had today. That was kind of odd. but
I apologize for
It's
that.
okay. And I have to say this, I like the photographs, what we're dealing with.
Yeah, that
Are
really
they
makes
costly?
it
Does
look-
it cost you more to send staff out and take them?
No, we have to take them anyway for the case file.
Okay. I think the system we had with the photographs, when applied correctly, was just fine.
Okay?
I think that there are often extenuating circumstances, and we just need to understand what they are. So if he goes down from that figure, it'd be nice to know due to unemployment, loss of
Yeah.
job, whatever.
I think if we know that staff is going in the room with the magistrate and the citizen, that they know where they need to start. And even if their recommendation changes based on testimony or personal exchange with them, as long as we understand the rhyme to the reason, you know, we can relate to it. It's not selective, it's just a reality check. This is what this particular person, you know, have going on. I mean, whether it's a widower that's there, or a person who actually lost their job, because I mean, you know, this is not your first rodeo. You know when a person is filibustering, and I just want to make sure that it's equitable and that there is some kind of formula so that the conspiracy theory people don't come back and say you did it for this one but you didn't do it. We always have a track, you know, to operate from.
Understood.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Thank you very kindly. We will move forward to item 11. 11A, update on St. Johns River stakeholders, a letter of request. Mr. Leary.
Yes, sir. There was a meeting in the early part of April attended by representatives from Clay County, Marion County, Putnam County, I think from the Jacksport, the Jacks Chamber, I think the River Keeper was there, and various staff people from different organizations. What was discussed at that meeting generally was the fact that there was not going to be any federal funding available for the deepening of the port in Jacksonville until at least 2023, that there had been no local dollars committed for that project, and that the science that had been generated relative to that entire issue, peripheral to the deepening of the port, was somewhat dated, and that the economic science was even more dated. So the group among them concluded that it might be appropriate to ask the legislature for an appropriation to update both the science and the economic science so that more reliable data might be available upon which some decisions could conceivably be made about various directions that different parties might wish to take a stance upon in the future. That's thus the reasoning for this draft letter that is in your agenda, to see if parties were willing to sign off on sending a letter requesting an appropriation from the legislature. Of course, since they adjourned and are coming back into session, who knows what a request for funding what might happen to a request for funding at this point in time. But that's the rationale behind this letter.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator.
What transpired at that meeting of
Yes, sir.
stakeholders.
One thing that for sure, you know, the concern has been whether or not we were at the table. This letter obviously does show that we're at the table. This letter does not say that we are for or against anything per se, other than getting a revision pretty much of the stats that's related. On a separate note, my feeling is the deepening of the port is not an if, it's a when. You know, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, and obviously it's going to be largely tied into federal and state dollars there. I read with keen interest, that both the incumbent and the challenger for the mayorship of Jacksonville, when the question was asked concerning Rodman as mitigation, their response was very radically affirmative that they will support and pursue Rodman as the mitigation strategy there. That's separate from this, but I just thought that we should be aware of that. But this letter, to me, I do support that we need current information so that we're not dealing with opinions. It needs to be a revised current study. District 1.
Okay. So this letter is from St. Johns River stakeholders.
The
So-
stakeholders of all of those people.
And that's
Putnam,
us.
St. John's, Marion, Clay, all of the counties in the region
Okay, so we would be signing this letter too.
with this board's consent.
That's why we have it before us. Well, this part, I didn't know who it was from. I was just, okay.
Okay. District 2.
I don't agree at all. I don't think Robin Reservoir should be a mitigation piece in the deepening of the Jacksport whatsoever. I would support an economic report that would bolster funding to improve Rodman, to get even more people to use it. But as far as a mitigation piece, no,
Well,
not on board.
yes, sir. And I agree, and I don't want to compare the two. I just thought I should mention that there, but this letter certainly is
I can
not.
agree with you that this would set the record straight, but from the get-go, Rodman should have never been offered in any deal to deepen the Jacksonville port. They're 80 miles apart, nothing to do with each other than the Riverkeeper would like to extort us or colonize us, is what I like to say. That we weren't at the table, and I'm not up for colonizing. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. District 2 has spoken. District 4.
Well, thank you, District 2, and I agree wholeheartedly. Lake Ocklawaha Rodman Reservoir is not up for extortion on this matter. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers clearly took it off the table because it didn't need to be part of the mitigation plan. I have no problem, as I told the Florida Times Union, that we would be, Rodman Reservoir would be, Save Rodman would be very welcome to a new updated study, but only an independent study. I think we would have to go outside of Florida to find that university that could possibly look at that, but I don't think we could find one here in the state of Florida that would have the ability to look at all the sides on this issue. I believe there's tremendous benefits not only to Lake Ocklawaha and Rodman Reservoir, but for western Putnam County, eastern Clay County, and that needs to be looked at. Our lake levels and water levels are not near where they should be, and we start taking water out of there, and we're going to find ourselves in a deeper mess. And then you have to factor in what Marion County wants to pump out over 500,000 gallons of water out of the Ocklawaha before it ever gets to Lake Ocklawaha. So we have some serious issues, and that's why I do support a study, but not anything local that would be done by our local universities or colleges.
Thank you, sir. District 5.
I'll be very brief. When somebody has said everything you want to say, I'll just say this. Amen, District 2, and amen, District 4. I'm done.
Okay. Again,
Covered.
let's be mindful of the fact that the decision on all of these concerns, very intimate concerns of our citizens as well as us as the county legislators will be made in Tallahassee, not in Jacksonville, not in Green Cove Springs, not in St. Augustine, not Orange Park, not Palatka, not in Ocala. They will be made in Tallahassee. So again, whatever the position is, I just need to make sure that we are on board with this, so that they do know that we do want the facts. Now, as far as who they're going to decide is best, impartial, and fair in making this happen, I do want to make sure that we know that we can voice our opinions, but we really don't have a dog in that fight.
What if the University of North Florida sends their marine science team out to do this study?
It's over with.
And that's very likely going to be,
That's who it's going to be.
They've already done one
Yeah.
that shows the
Okay.
value.
that's not fair.
Well,
I'm sorry, John Delaney is completely on the other side, the college president,
Okay.
and we can't accept that.
Well, I think again that the legislative leaders in each of these counties concerned, now that we're at the table, we know that, and I, for one, representing our county, is not going to sit back, and I'm sure that the 5 of us won't sit back, and the 5s of Marion County, the 5 in Clay, the 5 in St. John's, or 7, however many they have, are not going to sit back and just let this happen. Let's keep in mind, had we not gone down the road that we've gone down to get to where we are now, this thing would be much further down the road. So I think that we're at the table now, and I just want us to be at the table and continue to take the position that we have, with an understanding that we have to do what is within our jurisdiction. Mr. Leary.
Well, I was just going to add that the discussion of what party that was going to perform the update, if the funding was achieved, was going to be the Water Management District,
Okay.
St. John's Water Management District.
Okay.
Because they had done apparently the original studies that are currently outdated,
So it would be
particularly
basically
the economic piece.
Well,
Well, and with the senior staff adjustments there, then it should be unbiased, right?
One would think.
New group.
Not necessarily.
I stand strong. I don't
Not
think it should be a
necessarily.
mitigation piece at all.
No.
Again, we share in strong feelings about the differentiation and the separation and alienation of those. But right now, if we just dig in and say what we don't like, they're gonna steamroll us, and we need to face that reality.
Well,
District 1?
I was going to say, when we were in Tallahassee, there was a professor there from University of North Florida who had just done an extensive study on the values of what did the county gain with the values of the waterfront homes because they're assessed at more, at all of the economic parts of it. So are you saying that St. Johns River Water Management District also did an economic study on values of what the river brings?
I'll just tell you what I heard at this meeting, and that was that everybody at that meeting seemed to agree that if funding were obtained, that it would be the Water Management District that would do the updating of the economic piece and the scientific piece.
Okay.
And please
Bless
be
you.
aware of the fact that President Joe Pickens is chairing this meeting, and Mr. former Commissioner, State Rep Kelly Smith, there at the table representing Putnam County, even though Mr. Pickens is the chair. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be, so Putnam County is represented with 3 compared to the others with 2, with him being the chair. So I think that at this point, and I certainly did not want to stir up the emotions of us who do have some serious positions here, but I don't see the harm in supporting the letter that is that's going forth, so that we can have updated information. And I think that what District 2 is saying, District 4, 5, 3, 1, all of us are saying is that we want an impartial report from an impartial contractor, and I think that's fair. But let's not. They got to get it funded and financed, and then certainly I think we have time to say, please be selective, and let's just make sure that the facts are where they need to be.
Mr. Chairman, I have one last question, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Ms. Harris, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Mr. Leary, you said that funding for the federal dollars would not be available for another 8 years. Is that correct?
That's what they said at this meeting, that the federal government had indicated that there was not going to be any federal funding until 2023.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the question that I had is, where in here do you feel that it says it's to be used for mitigation?
No, I was
What
I
wording
was
are you-
separating my comments from this letter. It's not in this letter.
This strongly alludes to it, and it's been the overarching theme of the Riverkeeper through this whole process. I mean, they've got failing septic tanks, people dying every summer in Jacksonville from bacteria-borne viruses in the river. She should be concentrating on that and not our clean, pristine reservoir. I'm sorry. It should not be
Okay.
a mitigation piece,
Right.
and I
Well-
can't look at it any differently. I understand what you're trying to do, but I want it off the table.
Then why
Period.
don't we change the wording in the letter? Do
This
you
letter
think
is the whole region is signing the letter, and Mr. Leary.
there is a typo in it too?
There you go.
That makes it nil and void.
Where is the typo?
Okay, third paragraph up. The study would be built, the word "be" is left out, the last part of the sentence.
Yep. Understand what I'm saying? We just shouldn't even be at this status. We should be warring with these people to get this off the table. It's ridiculous. And, I mean, they have nothing to do with each other. Get her to concentrate back on her job. She's hired by the Metro Jacksonville area to straighten the river out up there. You know, we don't go messing around in her backyard. She doesn't need to be in ours.
Well, I agree with you. I just was wondering if there was a way to save this without.
Well, I like a strong letter then. I like your idea. But
We are,
don't vote me. But I
well,
feel
we're
strongly.
we're at the table, and so right now, I would rather be at the table and stick with our position than for us not to be at the table. And if we just flat out say, take it off the table, then we're moving ourselves from the table. And I
We're
just-
not gonna leave, we're
No,
not
I
gonna
don't
leave
wanna
the table.
But I would like that coalition of Putnam, well, at least the representatives from Putnam County that you just named, to take a strong letter of opposition back, just to take it off the table. It shouldn't be even discussed. I mean, they're pulling us in to a losing battle.
Well, I think that now that we have a senator and that we have, well, we've had a representative for the district, that's who needs to be our mouthpiece. I think that that would be the only way for us to make sure that our voice is loud and clear and that they understand our position. Because again, when it's all said and done, nobody at the table has a vote on this. Nobody at the table. Yeah, nobody at this table or the table from the stakeholders. The vote is going to be in Tallahassee. So my thing is, we can be firm, we can stay on point, we can make our voices as loud as possible. But again, if we're just adamantly opposing, I mean, we want it to be off the table, but it's on the table. So do we face reality, or do we act as if?
I'm saying our approach is wrong. You know, you're agreeing to go and discuss this. and-
But the study can only strengthen what we know.
Depends on who does the study.
Yeah.
Well, again, we don't want to jump through that hoop. Let's go ahead and
I think
be.
you're entering into some politics that we don't know enough about from this little letter to be committing ourselves to this degree. And ending up losing that reservoir by not having enough information in front of us.
Well, we're gonna lose it if we going by old science. We're gonna definitely lose it if we don't have information that, as I heard Commissioner say earlier, she got to be able to hang the hook or hook, whatever terminology she said. Right now, we need a fresh hook.
Well, then why don't we?
Any anglers at the table here?
Yeah, we
Okay,
can
need a
form
fresh-
I think we can do what everything that Commissioner Liebel's saying here and just say, we support this as long as Lake Ocklawaha Rodman Reservoir is not part of the mitigation. We support a study from an independent outside source. I do believe water management is highly political and will do exactly what anybody needs them to do, and that's why we've seen shakeups like we've seen. We were in
think-
Tallahassee, we heard Hans Tanzler speak.
I think
And-
you equip me
Equip
as your
you,
current chair with a letter that is drafted, by our administrator to express these feelings. But that still should not get in the way of this letter, I think, when we go back to the table, because again, it's not like, that group is in recess.
when you going back to the table, Mr. Chairman?
I don't know when the next meeting will be.
All right, so we could probably make some different types up, and then we could have them for our next meeting.
Well,
I'm sorry.
They're going back in session in June.
well,
First week of
again,
Well,
but
that's
they're
gonna-
going back to get a budget passed. This is not getting ready to happen per se. And the truth of the whole matter is this. I'm being real about this thing. If all we do is say, we don't want it and disconnect it now, we're gonna be the lone voice, because Marion County, St. Johns County, Clay County, all of those other counties are signing off on this.
St. John sided with us. Marion County has not sided. Clay County won't take a position on it.
And you're telling me that they're not gonna try to bring this up at the end of the special session?
Sure they are. The 12th hour, we got lobbyists waiting for it.
Yeah,
We know it's going to happen.
yeah.
We're fully prepared for that.
Okay, so what is going to happen?
They're going to find, that money for funding's already sitting there. I
Okay,
can
so
tell you.
our issue is not the study, it's who conducts the study. So why can't our energy go on making it known that we want an impartial, study
Right.
done? To me, that's the point. because
And we
it's not
also want to
Study gonna happen. We just want the right people to do the study, sounds like to me.
And we want to reiterate our point that Rodman, Lake Ocklawaha is off the table for mitigation, period.
For the Port of Jacksonville.
Right.
Or we should sue the Port of Jacksonville for saltwater intrusion.
Exactly.
I agree with,
In our sport fishing industry.
I agree with Commissioner Flagg. I do think an independent study is going to support our point, and we just need to reiterate to them that, that's what we'll stand by. But again, as Commissioner Lowell says, we're not putting the reservoir up as a pond, but we don't want your boys doing the study, so to speak.
There you go.
Well said, Vice Chairman. Can I get a motion in a second? This letter.
I make a motion that Mr. Leary drafts up a letter, or Mr. Castleberry.
I'm on a motion first on this letter that
I make a motion that we do not support that current letter as written.
Can I,
Mr. Leary.
well, I just want to make sure everyone understands. I didn't write this letter.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This is a regional letter.
And it's a letter that has been vetted by all of the parties that I mentioned earlier. So it's something that everybody has vetted and agreed upon. I didn't write it.
Yeah, the original language
got it.
you would not have liked, period.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have enough information from that regional letter composer, and I can't make an intelligent decision on this.
There's
I
a
don't know
motion
what it
on the
means.
floor.
The problem is,
Too vague.
we've been sending,
Died.
There you go.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
the problem is, we've been sending you in to the meetings, but we don't really know what's happening, and we just have the same old attitude. We don't know how you've reached what you have, and,
By pretty much doing the same thing we did when we had the town hall meeting, slowing the train down. And the truth of the whole matter, just as our administrator said, first of all, in order for the port to be deepened, it's not gonna be the mayor and the city council in Jacksonville that make that decision. Millions of dollars from the federal level is going to take place. The federal government, we don't know who the president will be, we don't know who will be in Congress. That process is much more cumbersome than any process that we've gone through in this room. Tallahassee, again, that process, I don't know how to get anything done in any of those places, Tallahassee or Washington, for that matter. All I'm saying is, this is a revision there. The protecting of the health of the St. Johns River and its tributaries. I don't know who have ulterior motives. I know what our motive is. I know that we want to protect the St. Johns River, we want to protect Lake Ocklawaha, all of those places, but for us to say, don't study it, I think that's a problem. I think if we say we are concerned about who does the study, I think we're in line.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that our county attorney draft a letter with our concerns of who does the study, okay? And that the mitigation for Lake Ocklawaha is off the table, and bring some samples back at the next meeting, then we can vet it properly then at that point.
Point of order. That is a moot point if this document in front of you does not at least have consensus. Why would we tell them that we're concerned about who's gonna do the study if we don't even sign off on the fact, okay, let's do the study, but we are concerned, and we can attach our concern there. Again, them people on recess, some of them at the beach, some of them out of state, ain't no telling what they're doing.
I can't feel any different.
Guess my
Counsel.
motion died
I
again.
mean, the letter
That again.
itself says they're going
To
to
death.
study, says the study's going to include the potential breaching of the dam.
Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah.
And it says that's gonna be part of that.
It's because that is their position. Our position is that we want the study. Keep in mind, two people who have been in Tallahassee representing Putnam County is sitting at that table. Joe Pickens, Kelly Smith. Do those names ring any bell?
I've talked to both of them.
Okay, those individuals are genuinely concerned about Rodman Reservoir, Lake Ocklawaha. We're not in the dark. They do need to come, perhaps, and shed even more light there. Again, I don't know what else I can tell us other than what I've told us. It's not a military secret. We know they have linked. Had we not had the town hall meeting and this, they could have cared less about whether we were there or not. We're there now. And so, to me, this is not endorsing them doing anything to Rodman. This is endorsing the study.
I've made my motions, made my case.
But shouldn't we at some point let them know that, we're not against a study, but we want it done by an independent third party?
That's why if we approve the letter, we immediately draft a letter and indicate before this is ever even funded that that's what we want. That letter is certified and certifiable for us to make sure that they understand if, in fact, you do fund a new study, we want you to understand our concern about partiality and selected people who cannot give a fair and impartial result.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but,
Please don't.
and I won't. Are any other county commissions debating this letter right now currently like we are?
Every county that is a stakeholder has this same letter being presented. When it's being presented,
We don't
I have
know
no
that.
clue. Marion County has it, St. Johns
Well,
County have it, Clay County has it. And
I think
all of those people sitting at the same table.
I think it's prudent that we go back and say, we appreciate the letter, but we have some changes that we'd like to make, and we're not willing to sign the particular letter that's sitting on our desk right now. That's all I'm saying.
If the changes, if it was a Putnam County product, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
It is a Putnam County.
regional, no, sir, you got that wrong.
It's our water.
Okay. We can think it's our water all we want.
It's
the state of
21
Florida's water, not Putnam County's water. What part of that don't we understand?
We get it.
It's the state of Florida, and we can cry all we want to. If we don't stay at this table and play ball, then we could sit up in the stands and watch the score.
Then
That's what we can do.
let's make changes, or you brought it before the board, we make the changes, we send the letter back as the changes we made. That's how I look at it.
Apparently, I'm not reaching my colleagues today.
I'm sorry.
This is about a study.
Yeah, I can't agree to this language. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, what part of the language can't you guys agree on?
All of it.
So the whole thing
I've
is,
said my piece and I'm done with it.
that's been our Putnam County problem. We are at the table now. We can't be
We
done
got
with it.
that. We got that.
Do we need a motion to either agree to join this letter or not, one way or the other?
Well, I can't support this letter the way it's written exactly, but with some modifications I could. I don't know if can we compose our own letter and send that back to them instead of endorsing this?
I wouldn't necessarily compose a letter. I would edit this one because, again, all of these counties and all of those people.
That's what my motion's been, Mr. Chairman.
What's your motion, sir?
My motion was to adapt that letter to Lake Ocklawaha and Rodman Reservoir was not part of the mitigation,
That's what the study is on.
and that we want an independent outside firm studying this.
Okay.
That's
But if you don't support the study, how are you gonna get an outside person to study something that you don't even want studied?
We put that in the language of that letter and sent it back, that these are the changes we made. That's my motion.
Okay. We have a proper motion on the table.
Repeat that, Larry.
I'm sorry?
Motion, please.
Yes, my motion is that we amend this letter that's presented before us to have Lake Ocklawaha Rodman Reservoir not part of the mitigation for the port dredging of Jack's Port, and also that we support an independent outside study to be done.
I could support that. Second.
Proper motion and a second. Please help me understand, in the intent or the spirit of the motion is there, what paragraph would that fit in, and what would you take out of this for us to send back there? Because we can't put that on the attorney's back, and because I'm not sure he or the administrator is clear on, the first paragraph, as a region, we have been working on ways to balance economic and environmental concerns for all of Northeast Florida. That's what the stakeholders have been doing. Okay, as funding approach, we have an opportunity to address some of the complexities. I think that statement is fine. I think when you get to the next paragraph, which is where the grief is, they're saying to the extent that the Jacksport channel deepening has been linked. We didn't link it, they did. So it's an accurate statement to possibly revisiting the status of the Rodman Reservoir. So that, again, I think that statement is accurate. But then in order to move forward in a manner that protect the health of the St. Johns River, its tributaries, to capitalize and things of that nature, we want the study so that they are not just steamrolling us to examine the economic impact of the dam and potentially breaching the dam. And I think, again, I agree with us wholeheartedly that we want the right people studying the Rodman. But if you're saying it's off the table, we don't have the authority to take it off the table. We didn't put it on the table. We wouldn't want it on the table at any point in time. But it's already on the table.
I think a little bit to what Mr. Harvey might be saying is that by getting them to let them know that we're not for putting the Rodman Dam up on the table, but basically, in layman's terms, get the independent study and let the facts be rubbed in your face.
That's what this letter does, sir.
It doesn't say anything about an independent study.
I know. All right, so.
Are there any minutes of that meeting, that town hall meeting?
The one that
Yeah. Can we get a copy of that?
Pretty sure we can.
I don't know what went on there, and I don't trust it.
I want to. I don't know if I've.
No, you
if
talking
y'all-
about the meeting at the beach?
Our meeting?
No, at
That's the only
the Chamber
time.
of Commerce and
You talking about the
Orange Park,
one
Florida.
before? Oh,
This-
no, not the town
Oh,
hall
not our
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah, we've had two meetings we've met in St. Augustine.
Town hall meeting, yes.
Just
Stakeholders meeting, not a-
Stakeholders meeting.
Mr.
I've got some language
Just,
here.
just a moment, Mr. Leary.
the economic piece of the study that both Mr. Pickens and Mr. Smith were wanting to see done as part of the study was to measure the economic impact of Rodman to Putnam County.
Gotcha.
And that's certainly missing for us. I think everybody will agree to that, and that's what was hoped to be achieved in terms of one thing to come out of an updated study, so a more reliable figure of the economic impact of Rodman to the county.
When we made our trip to Tallahassee, was it in March? I can't remember when we went up there. Us five went up there that morning. One of the state representatives came up to me and told me that us all five being there made a very strong statement to them before we stood on the issue. But he said there was even a bigger problem there. He said to breach Rodman Dam, they guesstimated at $40 million, and $40 million they did not have. So that's where I feel pretty comfortable that nothing's going to happen quickly on this. And I don't know if y'all were approached with that same information or not, but one particular state rep did come up to me and tell me that.
And how many $1 million is the deepening?
Oh, God.
385.
800 million is what I heard.
385
Grand
million.
total, yeah.
It's a big number.
There's a lot of numbers out there. And so again, whatever the pleasure of the commission is, I'm apparently reading differently, and I apologize.
Let me read this paragraph.
Read it.
Before us. As funding approaches are being considered for the Jacksport Channel Deepening Project, we have an opportunity to address some of the complexities of various proposals that could provide economic and environmental benefits to the region. Economics to the Jacksport, environmental means breaching the dam. That's a strong paragraph right there. I don't know why you can't read that or understand what it's saying, but this thing already tilts to breaching the dam, this letter. I don't like the language in it. Read it for yourself.
The study does not breach the dam. The study, to me, gives us current science for us to at least have our strategy. And if we have that independent, impartial contractor that does the study, then to me, that strengthens the position of Putnam County. But if we are fighting the study, what is it we fighting?
I've got a motion and a second on the floor. We're not fighting the study.
I tell you what, this has been a hard day. We've been here a long time. It's not a good time to reach a decision on something. We really need more input. It'd be good to sit down, let Joe Pickens talk to us and Kelly Smith, and us just talk about what we're facing and look at the whole thing. And I suggest we just do it on another day or not put it on top of a day that's been difficult. And while we have fresh minds, so some morning soon, I think we should have some kind of a workshop to talk about this.
Mr. Leary, can you contact Mr. Pickens and Mr. Smith?
When would you like me to invite them to meet with you?
I think we need a time certain.
Could we workshop this on our next Tuesday? And if
Somebody
that's,
withdrawing the
I'm going to rescind that. I was working that way. I'll rescind that second. And if we can get it into a workshop and get, Mr. Pickens has been on that level, Mr. Smith, I think any input they have would be very helpful.
Tony, for the record, how many times did I strike out just now?
We have a rescinding of the second, so the motion is standing out there by itself. If you want to withdraw it or you want it to die?
I want to gavel it out again.
Third time, you strike
I think
three,
it's
you're out.
fourth or fifth. You're out of there.
See if they're available
It only hurts for a little while.
the latter part of next Tuesday afternoon.
Are we on a time frame here that we need to do it quicker than that? Next, what did you say,
When are they
Tuesday?
going back into special session for the?
June 1 is what I thought. So,
Dictate your time.
so do we have
See if
time
they're
to do it?
available.
What is our current schedule for next Tuesday? I know we've got, we got a lot of technological, and this is a technological situation here too. What time we come on duty next Tuesday? 2 o'clock.
So we could do it earlier?
You wanna do 11?
Better check.
I mean, there's no need in coming early if they're not available and, right?
Yeah. Well, let's give you the discretion. I'm thinking if we can spend an hour with them but telling what time we're gonna get out of the afternoon, I'd hate to have them here after that meeting because we've got some experts coming to speak.
Do it before then.
That's what I said before. But
Okay, I missed that.
you wanna do it at 1, well, is 1 o'clock an option? It's kinda tough at 1 o'clock. I was thinking if we do 11 o'clock, if that's possible, and then we got a lunch break, like today we got it 3 o'clock or whatever time it was, and then we come back in for the other. But again, it's gonna be based on their availabilities. Why don't you email us and tell us when they're available? Mr. Pickens might be in Tallahassee doing something else.
You know, I say, what if it's only one of them? Is it one or none or
Do
both?
we need
or
both
what?
or will we settle for one?
One's fine.
Two would be better, but
One will be fine, I guess.
Okay.
let's invite both.
And why don't we
That's helpful.
say, any time in the morning before the 2 o'clock meeting would be? And can we set another day in case that doesn't
Mr. Leary, you're
work?
going to invite both though, correct?
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
I
So
think
how about Wednesday, if Tuesday doesn't work?
Let's let him send us an email, and he can negotiate. If Tuesday doesn't work for them, then see what works for them. Prefer both of them, that way they can chime off of each other, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Mr. Leary. What else do you have?
I don't have anything unless you have some appointments that you'd like to make, sir.
I'd like to recommend Beverly Carter be reappointed to the District 3 Fair Authority. Any other appointments?
I do, sir. I have Danny Tilton for the Greenbelt Advisory Board.
Danny Tilton,
Yes, sir.
I have one myself.
okay.
Jay Beckenbach has termed out on District 5 Library Board, and I want to reappoint from previous years, Kathy Warren,
CRK.
K.
Any other appointments? 1 and 2 got off the hook for appointments. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve those appointments.
we have a proper motion for Carter, Tilton, and Warren to be appointed as presented. Second has been made. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Hearing none, motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Leary?
No, sir.
County Attorney.
Too tired to say anything.
All right, from the clerk's office, do you have anything, sir? District 1, any final? Anything else?
No.
District 2?
No.
I'm gonna talk
Well, I'm
about it.
trying to think. Blueberry Festival, Boston. Get there early if you want pancakes. This Saturday. This festival has really grown. Despite the growing pains, the new fire department there, we've relocated the festival right out front on the street with a lot of shade. So even if it's a hot day, you'll be cool. It's actually I like it under the trees out there, and I think it'll be a very nice festival.
Thank you so much, District 2. District 4, anything else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as some of you all might know, after the Blueberry Festival, the town of Interlaken, the Historic Society, has acquired the old black school that was behind the Sid Martin building. There was a white school out there, and then the black school was behind that, and they're going to have their dedication this coming Saturday. They purchased that at 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock.
Send them my best.
District 5.
No, sir, I think that covers me.
Let's go back to District 1. I think she has some bragging rights from last night.
Oh, the
Oh, yes.
top 8th grade honors, my grandson was one of them. And,
Patrick J. Harris, and
Patrick
all
James
of us
Harris
are
Jr.
proud.
Thank you.
Yes,
It was a nice evening. I thought it was especially nice, that it was nice for everybody.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And the top 50 seniors are gonna be Thursday night,
correct.
What
same
time is
place
that?
at, or is it
Same-
Ravine
same
Gardens?
time. No, it's at the same place,
Same
PHS
place.
Commons.
6:15?
Yes,
It's good to go to those. It's nice to see proud parents and their kids.
Social hours at 6:15.
right. And I'll be a proud parent Thursday night.
Very good.
Candace Flagg is in the top 50, so
All right.
we're grateful for that.
Great.
Commissioners, let me commend you for such a day. It has certainly been a workout. Feel like I've been in the gym. And entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Since we're talking all this education, I need to congratulate my son publicly
All right.
for graduating St. John's River Community College,
State College.
State College, with an AA degree and heading to UF.
Good deal.
All right.
Gators.
Miss Candace is heading to UF as well. Summer B already accepted, so we'll have to keep them all straight. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Anything
sir.
else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
May God bless us all.